Richard Julian. Hey everybody, my name is Richard Julian, and we got a club out in Bed-Stuy called Bar Lunatico where Clark played a lot, has played a lot. This is one of the bands he played with. Craig and Clark do the Crusaders, and it is exemplary of the kind of swagger that he brings around to the clubs. Clark has so many bands. Like, I would be like, hey, could we get the Crusaders in? And he'd be like, oh, I can't do that right now, but I've got this other idea for a band. And the band would be, one of the bands is all songs from the jukebox at M&G's Fried Chicken in Harlem. And it was just songs from that jukebox. I never verified that all the songs were actually on the jukebox. I don't know if somebody's in charge of that, but that was one of the bands. And yeah, man. So, and it shows, because you know we did this GoFundMe, you guys might have seen. And as of today, we raised $90,000, but even more impressive to me than the actual dollar number that got raised is over 1,100 people have gone on there and donated something to Clark, and it shows the wide reach that he's had. And the only way you can reach that many people is by never sleeping and just continuing to play constantly all day and all night long in New York City. One of the bands he played with, and plays with, I should say, because we want Clark to keep playing, is the Super Slicks. And they were the first band that Lunatico called to play. We said, we're opening a club and we want the Super Slicks to open. But Clark had another gig and he couldn't make it, so that's what happened there. But before they start, I know Rick Sabo here, who's really close to Clark, wants to say a few things, so please give it up for Rick.
It is so great to see so many people out here to support for Clark. I just want to give you a little context, a little, you know, how deep Clark, we all know Clark from the reggae and ska scene. And he is so deep in that scene. Ska started in Jamaica in the early 60s with a group called the Scatolites. It did not exist before they invented the music. Some of them were trained classical jazz musicians taught by Sister Ignatius at the Alpha Boys School in Kingston. They took jazz, they turned it inside out. The drumming patterns you're going to hear, the rhythm guitar, didn't exist in the history of mankind or music prior to the Scatolites. The reason I'm giving you this little history lesson is there was a trombone player, Don Drummond, who was an original member. They performed in the 60s early, recorded a little bit, and then disbanded and split up. Unfortunately, Don Drummond took his own life at a young age, and 20 years go by, the Scatolites play individually on every conceivable Jamaican record there is. In the early 80s, they reform. They emigrated here to the States. They started performing again. Saw them at the Village Gate on Sunday nights. It was just incredible in such an intimate setting. But in all that time, they had never tried to replace Don Drummond on trombone until they met Clark GAYTON. Let's hear it. And I mean, they accepted him, they treated him like a son. He absorbed everything from them, not just the music, but the philosophy, the life philosophy, how they wanted the music to be interpreted. And we're lucky enough tonight, so that's how deep Clark goes with this music. It's not just another genre that he played. He is right in there, and we're lucky enough tonight to have Carrie Brown on keyboards, who played with the Scatolites also with Clark when we toured. We've got Phil Kestra on drums and percussion, they'll switch off. Gregory Jackson on bass. Clark's latest incarnation was the Super Slicks, which was, he went back to trombone. For years he played the marching band sousaphone. and not a bass player. And he would solo on that thing. It was incredible. I remember it. Baby Jupiter, New Blue, Bar Lunatico, 55 bar. He'd be scraping the ceiling tiles with that sousaphone. Asbestos started falling on our heads. Yes, Parkside Lounge. But then he went back to the trombone, and his latest incarnation was the Super Slicks, which that's how we know him from. We've got Doreen Chandler from Trinidad and Tobago on drums. And we, Doreen and another bass player, Derek Bourne, played with Clark that week, like 2 nights before he had the stroke. These guys are from another longtime friend of Clark's who couldn't be here tonight. He's at a gig, is Kevin Batchelor on trumpet. And he has a 17-piece orchestra that does ska, reggae, rocksteady arrangements, big band. We got lucky to have 3 horn players here from Kevin Batchelor's ska orchestra. We've got Greg Lapine on alto sax. We've got John Speck on trombone. We've got Tony Orbach on tenor sax. If Tony looks familiar, he's the son of the late great actor Jerry Orbach. So we're going to do 2 songs. We're going to do both Clark's. The first one is a Clark Gayton original called Uptown Sound. It's ska music, and of anything, ska music was invented as dance music. So if you feel the vibe, get up, shake your hips, dance to the beat, dance because you can, dance because we're here to celebrate Clark, dance because we're here to celebrate life. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us, so all we have is this moment right now. Let's make the most of it.